Hi. So today we're going to talk about setting up easily maintainable and usable multiple entry forms using Forms Manager. I have a form already started here for a summer camp, and I set it up so that there's several dependencies within the elements. So we'll jump over to View and Enter and just take a look at how this form works at this point. It asks, would you like to register another child? That's in there to help us with the multiple entry, and you'll see how that's used in a couple seconds. But if I say yes, it brings up my fields for child's first and last name. I can choose a grade depending on what grade I choose. For example, 7, nothing else shows up. But if I choose, say, grade 2, it asks if we require aftercare. And there's another dependency down here under allergies. If there's no allergies, nothing happens. If there are allergies, then it asks you to input information about those allergies. So just to show you what we have set up, one of the other features of the way we have this set up is each of these fields, the results view name, reporting label, is set up so that it ends with an underscore. And the reason we do this is because Finalsite will automatically number duplicates of certain fields. But if we name the first one number 1, what Finalsite does is it doesn't recognize that that's actually a number 1 at the end. For example, if I had that there, what it would do is start appending a number to the end of that number, which means we would get 1, 1, 1, 2, and so on. So it's best to just end these with an underscore. I'm going to select all of my fields by shift-clicking them. And now I'm going to copy them to the clipboard. And because I'm copying them all at once, all the interdependencies that we saw, the conditionals, are going to remain in this block. So for every new block that we paste, those conditional statements will still be active. And that's one of the reasons you want to set that up ahead of time. So I'm going to drag this down, and we're going to say we need 6 of these total. So I'm going to drag this down 6 times, which means I'm going to have a total of 7 of these blocks on this page. I think that was 3, 4, I think that's 6 now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and our original. All right, so we now have 7 on this page. It's always a good idea to save when you do that. So now that we've saved and published this form, before we see the way it works, let's jump down and look at some of these fields that we added. So this is the original block that we had here with the reporting label having just a blank underscore at the beginning. But if we come down and start looking at our copies, you can see additional child 1. Finalsite has automatically taken care of naming those. So first child name, 1. And if we come down to the second block, it'll say 2. And so this is going to make things a lot more readable on the results side. But what we do need to do is get rid of our initial block with just the underscores. So again, I'm going to shift-click all of these. And delete. And I'm also going to delete the very first would you like to register another child and underscore, because for the first child, if they're filling out the form, you have to assume they definitely want to register at least 1. So we'll shift click both of these and delete those as well. And I don't know if you see this occasionally or not. This is a little bug that I found in Forms Manager. Every once in a while, when you delete a lot of fields, you get these blank lines. They will disappear when you save. And there they're gone. So now let's publish this form just to see what we have so far. And come over to the View and Enter tab. And so far, so good. We have the child's first name, child's last name, the grade, which still has the dependencies. Does this child require aftercare? As well as the allergies field. But what we have down here is a bunch of would you like to add another child, one after another, after another, after another. And we'd like to have only one of these at a time. So let's come back over to build and edit. And what we're going to do is we know we want this first one to appear because that's going to be at the end of the first child's name that's entered. But the next one down here, which should be number 3, yep, number 3, we don't want that to show up until they've already entered a second child's name and we ask, well, do you want to enter a third child's name? So what we'll do is we'll come in and edit this and come down to conditional settings and say that we really only want this to show up when do you want to enter another child is yes. And save that. And we're going to do that for each of these down here, and I'm going to fast forward so you don't have to watch me doing that. So now that I've set all those conditionals and saved and published the form, we can jump over to the View and Enter tab. And now we see there's only one would you like to register another child visible. And if I say yes to that, we get the entry for child 2. And then another would you like to register another child, and I say yes to that. And we get the entry for child 3 and so on. And so these are all strung together in what seems like an endless chain until you get to the 6th one. And then you can't enter any more children at that point. So this is an easy way when Registration Manager is too much and Forms Plus is a little bit too complicated for what you need to do. It lets you set up these multiple entry forms quickly, and it keeps the results nice and clear using the numbering that Forms Manager does for you automatically.